I was in the hospital, fighting for my life. Stage 3 ovarian cancer. The treatments were brutal, and I was alone. No family nearby, no one checking my mail. Every ounce of energy I had went toward surviving the next day. That house? It was my sanctuary. The only place where I still felt like myself. I'd lived there for 22 years. I'd painted every wall, planted every rose, and paid off the mortgage with sweat, tears, and 2 jobs. But none of that mattered to the HOA. They claimed I owed them $380. I never even saw the letters. They mailed the notices while I was sedated in a hospital bed, unable to speak or think clearly. Then they added fines, interest, legal fees. Within weeks, they said the debt had grown to over $2,000, and then they sold my house. Sold it. Without a single knock on my door. Without a phone call. Without a shred of compassion. When I returned from the hospital, gaunt and exhausted, I found a lock on my door and a stranger living in my home. I thought it was a mistake. I called the police. The officer took one look at the paperwork and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. It's legal. Legal." It was the first time I felt something worse than cancer. I felt betrayed by the world. For a while, I stayed in a shelter. I had no energy to fight. Everything I had, photos, my husband's old jacket, even the quilt my mother made me, was gone. Tossed or sold. I didn't even know where to start. But grief has a strange way of becoming fuel. At the shelter, I met a woman who used to be a paralegal. She heard my story and said one thing: "Fight back. They count on people like you being too tired to resist." So I started digging. I went to the county clerk's office. I requested every document. I got copies of the foreclosure notice, the sale, the supposed fees, and what I found made my blood boil. The HOA had violated its own bylaws. They hadn't given the proper 30-day notice. The lawyer they used? Turned out he'd been disbarred in another state. I took that information to 3 different lawyers. 2 of them brushed me off. But the third one? She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Let's burn them down." We filed a lawsuit: wrongful foreclosure, breach of contract, emotional distress, the works. In court, their lawyer tried to paint me as irresponsible, negligent, even unstable. But my attorney showed the timeline: hospital records, oncology reports, certified mail dates. The judge was quiet for a long time, and then he ruled. Not only did I get my house back, the HOA was ordered to pay damages, a 6-figure sum, enough to cover my medical bills and then some. But that wasn't enough for me. I started attending every HOA meeting. I stood up and told my story again and again. People listened. They looked horrified. Some of them had no idea the HOA had that kind of power. Within months, we recalled the board. Every last one of them. New elections, new policies. A new clause. No foreclosure without judicial review. My story made the local paper. Then a national outlet picked it up. Other homeowners reached out, dozens, then hundreds. People who had lost their homes or were on the verge, terrified of speaking up. I started an organization, small at first, just me and a few volunteers. But we grew. We held workshops. We helped people understand their rights. We connected them with pro bono attorneys. And we exposed the worst HOAs in the country. I was once a woman with no strength left, sitting in a hospital bed. Now, I was a force of nature. Cancer nearly took my life. The HOA took my home. But I took it all back, and then some. Don't let them scare you. Don't let them silence you. You have more power than you think. Sometimes rock bottom is where you build your foundation. That's what I did. And I'm never going quiet again. And if you think your voice is too small, remember, mine started as a whisper too, until it roared.